My mother-in-law insisted I cook even though I was completely exhausted. The aroma of the food was overwhelming for my pregnant body, and I had to rush to the bathroom. I threw up into the toilet, but since I hadn't eaten anything all day because of her relentless demands, it was mostly just liquid. From that moment, I felt like I was in serious trouble. "Lisa, how long are you planning to stay in there? We need that food ready." "I'm sorry," I managed to reply, my voice weak. Young people these days just lack patience. Pregnancy isn't something you can handle with patience alone. How dare you speak back to me? Just because you're pregnant doesn't give you the right to be so insolent. If you keep this up, I'll knock some sense into you. My name is Lisa, and I'm a 27-year-old office worker. My husband Ken and I have been happily married for 2 years, balancing our careers while supporting each other. Then something wonderful happened. I discovered I was pregnant. Both of us were overjoyed and eagerly anticipating the arrival of our new family member. When I found out I was pregnant, I took maternity leave, and before I knew it, I was in the final month of pregnancy, with the twins due any day. Since we were expecting twins, we had to transfer our care from a general hospital to a private one equipped for emergency surgeries. Managing daily life on my own was becoming increasingly challenging, so my husband suggested that I move in with my mother temporarily. My father passed away when I was young, and now my mother lives alone. Since my husband and my mother get along well, and I'm accustomed to living with her, it seemed like the best option for minimizing stress. So for the past few months, I've been staying with my mother. The hospital where I'll be giving birth is also closer to her house, which has made the transition very comfortable. Just when I was on the verge of giving birth, I was confronted with an unexpected and troubling situation. My mother-in-law. Initially, I had a positive impression of her. She was warm and friendly when we first met, and she was open and engaging at family gatherings. However, as time went on, I began to see a different side of her. Why was my mother-in-law involved now? I had no choice but to ask for her help. My husband, a special design engineer, was dealing with an urgent issue with a local client only he could resolve, so he needed to visit the client personally. Meanwhile, my mother was hospitalized with appendicitis and would be out of commission for a few days. Concerned about me being alone, my husband suggested that my mother-in-law stay with me to provide support. At the time, I still had a positive view of my mother-in-law, so I was relieved when she agreed to come and help. I thought her presence would bring some much-needed peace of mind. However, the moment she arrived at my house, her demeanor took a turn for the worse. "Oh my God, your house is such a mess. Do you and your mother even clean?" Her comments were harsh and unprovoked, and she even went as far as to insult my mother. I was taken aback, as I had always thought of my mother-in-law as a kind person. "Mother, thank you for coming to take care of me for the next few days." "Oh, you must have misunderstood something," she replied dismissively. "What?" "I'm only here to call an ambulance if you need it," she said bluntly. "You'll need to handle the housework yourself." "Oh, don't think you can take advantage of me just because you're pregnant. I'll show you how to clean your house. Now get ready." Reluctantly, I had to comply with my mother-in-law's demands. She had me walking around the house, tidying up every nook and cranny. Then, despite my exhaustion, she insisted I cook. The smell of the food became overwhelming, and I had to rush to the bathroom. I threw up in the toilet, but since I hadn't eaten anything because of the constant demands from my mother-in-law, it was mostly just liquid. From the very first day, I felt like I was in danger. "Hey, Lisa, how long are you going to stay in the bathroom? Come out and cook." "I'm sorry. Young people these days just don't have any patience. Pregnancy isn't something you handle with patience alone. How dare you talk back to me? Just because you're pregnant doesn't give you the right to be so insolent. If you keep this up, I'll knock some sense into you. Tomorrow, we'll do a more thorough cleaning. We'll tackle the yard and get rid of the weeds." but I don't think I can manage pulling weeds. It's my last month of pregnancy. Don't be so lazy. You need to strengthen your legs. You've been pampered and living a lazy life. You won't be able to raise a child like that. But the doctor advised me to rest as much as possible. What I'm talking about. I've already given birth to my son and daughter. Listen to me, not that nonsense from the doctor. You can rest today, but starting tomorrow, I'll be much stricter, so be ready. My mother-in-law grinned as she spoke. It was clear she wasn't interested in teaching me. She was simply enjoying the power of giving orders and mistreating me. Fearing that continuing to follow her demands might put my pregnancy at risk, I tried to resist as much as I could. That's enough. It's obvious you should follow the doctor's advice. What you're doing is just bullying your daughter-in-law. How dare you speak to me like that? I should have known I couldn't trust you. Trust me? What are you talking about? I'm saying I never trusted someone raised by a single mother. They don't get proper guidance. That's why I didn't want my son to marry you. I see, so that's what you really thought. Yes, that's exactly it. But you can at least give me grandchildren. Once you've given me what I want, I'm done with you. What do you mean, done? Well, ideally, there would be a separation and divorce. My son and the grandchildren can return to our home. I understand your point. I'll support you through the birth, at the very least. No, I've had enough. What are you talking about? Without my help, the babies could be at risk. Don't be selfish, just do as I say. Just then my husband walked in. Hey, Mom, what's going on here? What? Why are you home? Didn't you go on a business trip? Fortunately, everything went smoothly, and I was able to return today. I got a message from Lisa asking for help, so I called her and stayed on the line. So, you heard everything we discussed. Yes, I heard everything. Mom, what kind of danger are you putting my pregnant wife in? Well, when I was pregnant, though medicine is much more advanced now, the doctor's advice is still crucial. Lisa is carrying twins, so she needs even more care than with a single pregnancy. If anything happens to those babies, it's on you. Oh no. Also, you mocked Lisa's mother for being a single parent. I didn't realize you were like this. You only see things on the surface. The truth is, single parent. Single parent. I'm sure those children didn't receive a proper upbringing. So does that mean I and everyone who works for her mother are bad people too? What? When we first met each other's families, I mentioned that my mother is a business owner. I thought that was just a small bar or something. I figured she was just trying to impress. Oh, I see. I didn't realize you had such a narrow view. I thought you were more open-minded. Lisa's mom is actually the president of the company I used to work for. She was recently featured in a business magazine. It was originally her husband's company, but after he passed away, she took over. She's been successfully running it for over 20 years. Well, I didn't know that. If I had, I might have acted differently. I dislike people who change their behavior based on someone's status. You've been belittling Lisa and my mother-in-law all along, haven't you? I don't want anything to do with you anymore. On top of that, you've endangered my babies. I'm cutting ties with you, Mom. You can't do that. Don't ever come around us again. I'm sorry, please. Sorry? No, I can't forgive you. What you said to Lisa was unacceptable. I'll never be able to forgive you. I'm going to tell Dad and my sister about this. Music. Now, if you cause any more trouble, get out of here. My mother-in-law's face turned pale as my husband insisted she leave. I'm so relieved he came back when he did. If he had left me alone with her, I can't imagine what might have happened. Afterward, my mother-in-law returned to my in-law's house, but my husband had informed my father-in-law about the situation, so my mother-in-law was not allowed inside. She then turned to my sister-in-law for help, but my husband had also filled her in, so she refused to assist her mother as well. Although my sister-in-law has her own issues with her mother-in-law, she couldn't tolerate seeing her mother bully me. With no support from the family, my mother-in-law was left feeling abandoned. Desperate, she went to my father-in-law, begging and pleading. He agreed to let her return home on the condition that she promised never to bully me again. My husband reinforced this by insisting she stay out of our lives completely, and warned her that breaking even the smallest promise would result in immediate divorce. Additionally, as a consequence for her actions, he required her to help with his brother's farm for 3 months. My mother-in-law had to work under the sweltering summer heat, pushing her physical limits. It was well deserved. Meanwhile, I gave birth to healthy twins, and my mother was discharged from the hospital, overjoyed to hold her grandchildren. My husband suggested that I stay with my parents for a while to adjust to my new role as a mother. Both my husband and my mother are supportive, helping me with the babies and household chores. With such strong family unity and mutual care, we've been able to live together in peace and harmony. By the way, everyone in my husband's family has visited us except for my mother-in-law. They're all thrilled to meet our children. I'm looking forward to continuing our happy life together with the family. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.